Well, good morning, everyone. Rob here, the Medicare minister, and I'm back with a brand new interview today from a top leader in the insurance space. And before we get into that, I just want to encourage all of you, let all of you know to make sure to click the subscribe button, turn your notifications on. That way you're alerted to every time we drop another interview like this. I know my man Luis is going to drop some fire today for all of us and going to share some content and some success principles that are going to help put fresh wind in your sails and help you achieve your dreams and your goals and push you that direction, because I believe that that's what we're all on this journey together. And so I hope that I can help you with that by interviewing top leaders and also just sharing some inspiration and some motivational content. But make sure to click the subscribe button, comment and like, share this with friends that maybe somebody that you think could benefit from this. So I'm going to dive right in. And Luis, I want to make sure I say your last name right. It's Moyano. Is that right?
Man, you're nailing it, Rob. Yeah. I was just actually going to say, you got the first name right. You nailed the second, the last name too. You're rolling. But let me start off by saying thank you so much for having me as a guest of your show. The Medicare minister. I like the flow of that. I've been trying to catch up and watch a little bit of the interviews you've been putting out there. But I just got to tell you right off the bat, man, you've got such a great energy to you that you don't even know when you haven't spoken to you in the past. But right off the bat, like, your energy is just contagious. So bring it on. Wake me up. It's nice and early for the both of us. So let's get this going.
Well, talking about last names, I moved to Mississippi and married a good old country girl, here in North Mississippi where I live, but I'm from Southern California. But my last name has been butchered forever here. It's Sevilla, but I have to say Sevilla because most people, I get called Saliva, Rob Sylvia, Rob Sabalis, and I'm sure you probably deal with a lot of that. Well, so I always try to make sure that I hit those last names correctly.
Yeah, man. My biggest one is Luis, like a girl name, but whatever. I let my friends call me Louis. My parents call me Luis. Whatever comes out, as long as I can help the family and they remember me, I'm okay with it.
Hey, I'm the same way. I've been called Ron, Bob, Rod. It doesn't matter to me, man. As long as I'm helping people and then that helps me help my family, I'm good to go. So, man, I appreciate those kind words, brother. And we were talking about this off camera, but one of the ways that I came across you, because one of the things that we want to do here on this channel is we want to inspire people, right? And there's a lot of channels out there doing tactics, and I'm sure I'll do some of that down the road. But what I'm really looking for is what makes people tick. We talked about discipline. I always believe that before you get to the delight, you got to have the discipline. Right? You got to have that discipline to get to the delight, where so many people in our world today just want delight. They want the benefits, but they don't want to go through the process to get to that point. And so I want to interview top leaders like yourself in different spaces, just to find out what is making you tick. What is your why? What makes you do what you do every day? So before we dive into that today, will you just give us an intro, that Sports Center highlight intro? Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you got involved in the industry you're now. Do you got a family? Where do you live? Things like that. Would you just spend a little time here in the beginning doing that for us?
Happily, man. Happily. So again, thanks for having me. My name's Luis Moyano. I'm currently in South Florida. I just relocated. I was in the East Coast. If you guys know Boca Raton, Fort Lauderdale, sure. That was where I caused my damage in my early 20s, right? That's where I enjoyed growing up and high school and all that good stuff. And now I'm happily married. I got two beautiful, beautiful little kids, a 3-year-old daughter, a 2-year-old son. They're a little under the weather today, but that's what happens almost every other week with kids.
Yep.
Then we moved just to the west coast of Florida, and we're just north of Naples now. It's more quiet over here, close to the Gulf. It's just literally a beautiful, beautiful area to be in. So you asked, what makes me tick? And I'm going to go ahead and have to rewind a little bit and give you just a little background story on me and what got me started into this industry, okay? Rob, man, I've been blessed to just come out and have a outgoing personality, right? Thank God, thank my parents, but I'm able to make a quick relationship with people fairly fast, which I absolutely know that that's a benefit of mine. So I put it to play. Well, I've always been in sales, right? I've done phone sales, I've done face-to-face sales, and I'm going to shock you right now. But the job that I had prior to going into insurance, I was a casket sales rep for
Wow.
one of the largest the largest companies, in the country. And I was there for like 3 4 years. I hit the President's Club. It was going really good, making over 100K almost every year that I was there, and things were good. Eventually that company got bought out, and at the same time that it got bought out, this is how life gets crazy, right? We had our daughter, and we decided to buy a restaurant. And buying the restaurant was not an easy task. It was pulling me away from work. I had my baby daughter, my wife, I got pregnant again, and it was just a whirlwind of emotions, a lot of things going on. And we're trying to run this restaurant that I had no business in, like no reason why I should have bought this restaurant, but we did. Right? So all that's going on, and my numbers took a little bit of a dip. There was a new company that came in and said, Luis, you know what, go run your restaurant. Let's go ahead and split ways. So my 100+ K job was gone. My security blanket was gone. I have a 5 6 month old. I have a baby on the way, right? Mortgage, this, that, and all that. So I'm just trying to figure out what to do. So a friend of mine and my brother-in-law happened to come into the restaurant just to grab a bite, and they started talking, and he starts telling me about life insurance. But not just life insurance. He's like, I've been doing life insurance for a while, and I had the hardest time getting out there and finding clients.
Right.
So this new way of doing life insurance blows my mind. He's like, we buy leads. I'm like, you buy leads and people are asking for insurance and you go see them? He's like, yeah. I was like, all right, cool. Let me check this out. Next month I was licensed. Then I wanted to do a little research myself, right? So I went out and I interviewed with a couple of different companies out there, some on more of the MLM side of things, some more in the telemarketing, under 65 market. And I ended up finding my niche here. Like I just saw a group of people that were developing something. So I joined them and I sat with them. I'm like, you're telling me that I buy leads, I invest into my business, I call them, I schedule an appointment, and I go see them. And no matter how bad I mess it up, I get to have another try at the very next house. And then at the very next house, they're like, yeah, man, it's that easy. So I told myself, I'm like, you know what? I know I can make a good first impression.
Sure.
I can't promise a second or a third one, but the first one I got down.
Right.
So I signed up right away. My first month, I deposited over $16,000 into the bank account, and I was just like gunning straight into it, right? Final expense, let's go get it. Getting leads however we could. At that moment, it was mainly final expense, Facebook leads that we were working, and they were flying in, right? This is prior to everything getting kind of, I don't know, saturated or just getting a little more difficult on Facebook. But this is only November 2018.
Okay.
Right. And so I'm still less than 3 years into the business. November, so I'm maybe 2.5 years in now. November will be my 3 year, and I just been head down nonstop. I've grown teams, I've switched companies. I'm now mainly focusing on mortgage protection. I will fill my schedule in with some final expense in there. And now on the verge, I would say I'm probably about 30 days out from running Medicare too, and getting out there and learning that. So
Sure.
that's my story, brother.
Well, that's awesome. One thing I want to go back to that I found very interesting, and I'd like for you to just dive in this for a second, because we're talking about success principles. We're talking about people that just have this will, this passion to succeed. And obviously, I'm just guessing here, but I'm almost willing to bet your why are those two babies and your wife that you talked about, right? That you,
no doubt,
you had to make it happen. But why, what was it in that time of having the restaurant, losing that 100K job? A lot of people would have just cried and kind of folded and given up. What is it about you in that moment that you said, you know what, I got to break through? Can you talk a little bit about that real quickly?
Yeah, man, absolutely, right. And the whole breaking down and crying, look, I'm going through a lot of personal development too, right?
Sure.
And as we grow, we mature, and everyone does that at different times.
Right.
It's actually been statistically proven that most of the people that acquire their wealth and break into their millions don't do it until past the age 40. So you're starting to see it more and more that millennials are starting to break into that ground. So it's happening
Right.
all over the place, right? So when my family came, I was in my early 30s, and it was just like, man, I'm responsible for people now. Like at the end of the day, if it goes bad, it's just on me. And like, who else am I going to blame but myself, especially in this business, right? Because
Right.
this business is unforgiving, but also very rewarding. So if you slack, you let things go down, you take your foot off the pedal in the first year or two, you're going to be in a world of trouble. And I personally experience it because I don't know if you're like this, Rob, but I'm that guy that you can tell me don't touch it and I'm probably still gonna want to touch it.
Yep. I'm
If I don't
guilty
get
as charged.
like you were not lying, that's hot. I probably shouldn't touch it. Oh yeah, it does burn dust in it. Yeah, I'm not gonna touch it now. So that's me. And so I have mentors, I have people that have poured back into me, but I still test and walk the line every now and then, like every other human may in many different scenarios. But it put that fire under me, and realizing and seeing that and doing a little bit of a roller coaster and having my high months and my low months. And it's like, I gotta find stability. If I don't find stability in this business, I'm not gonna make it. So
Right.
if I can pass that one like little tidbit right off the bat to some people, is find a way to find stability, not balance.
Yeah.
Balance will come.
Yeah.
Stability is having a constant so that you can run a business like a business.
That's interesting. You said that. I'm a big John Maxwell guy. And so, I was listening to he did another podcast with Ed Milet, which I'm, who's a big motivational guy. And two things which you were saying that he said that consistency compounds, right? So that's what we're talking about, that stability, that consistency, being consistent, because this in the insurance space that we're talking about, whether it's Medicare, whether it's final expense, mortgage protection, life insurance. There's a lot of roller coaster, people on a roller coaster in this industry because they don't know how to be consistent, or maybe they're not in the right team or the right group, have never had a mentor to pour in their life. But the other thing John Maxwell said is he said a lot of people are goal oriented, which is okay, but he said we need to be growth oriented. And what he meant by that is that change is inevitable, right? That's going to happen, but growth is optional. And so I love what you're saying here, because during this season of some hard times and some hard knocks, you could have folded, you could have given up, you could have quit, you could have done what a lot of entrepreneurs do and go back and cry. And I'm not making fun or hating on anyone, but you just had this resolve in you that said, you know what, I got a family, I got to do what I got to do. And, I grew up with a single mother. And so at age 8, I was helping raise the 3 other kids in the house. And I went to work when I was 13, you had to do what you had to do. Right. And so just had that natural resolve, but I've learned how to have more consistency in my life when I've gotten around the right tribe, when I've had mentors in my life pouring into my life. So I love what you're saying here, is that find that consistency, find that stability and that growth, that it takes time to grow, but be open to growing, right?
Yeah.
And learn from your mistakes.
Yeah. Well, if you want, I mean, I know you want to, this is going to be a very fluid conversation, but if we just dive in a little more into stability in our business,
Please do.
I think there's like, maybe like 3 factors that you have to be able to just kind of map out for yourself.
Sure.
Right? It doesn't matter who you are. And I think that especially maybe if you're a new person, you're coming into and watching this and you want to be able to take some nuggets out of this. It's like Rob and I can probably have conversations and just inspire and help people all day long. But
Sure.
to get a little more granular, right? Let's start off with your schedule. Like you literally have to block things out. When you go to a job and you have somewhere to clock in, your 9 to 5, traffic is not going to be an excuse. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to get docked. Your baby gets sick. You more likely still got to figure it out and get to work, right? If not, lose vacation days. Sometimes you have no other options but most of the times you just got to figure it out, because that clocking in comes first, and that's how they get you. So if you can do that for yourself, and you can have that harshness on yourself if possible, or that discipline of just saying 9 o'clock I'm sitting down, 5 o'clock I'm done, and give yourself that map, that schedule, block out your days, know your dial days, know that your run days, and put it down on paper so you can stick with it. That's going to be key. I even tell everyone, do it 1 month ahead of time. So this Saturday is going to be May 1st, but I'm not going to do May's calendar. I'm going to do June's calendar.
Okay.
And in June 1st, I'm going to do July's calendar, so that I can put in there, hey, I know I have this trip coming up in 30 days. I can't let down, right? Because I'm going to have a whole week of 0 production. So what am I going to do? And now that I'm moving up and I'm growing, as you're saying, there's more responsibility. I have to help other agents. I have to travel and do a training. I have to be part of a training. We're going to be in Vegas here in a couple of weeks for another seminar. So that takes away from production, and we're completely independent. No one's going to pay our bills other than what we produce. So give yourself that consistency in your schedule of doing it farther ahead for you to see what's coming up. So that's number one, schedule, right? Number two, and tell me if you believe in this too. I believe that leads are gonna be the food for you. You know, your fuel, your food, your energy. You don't have the leads, you're gonna be in trouble.
Right.
You can get out to as many Starbucks as you want. You can network with as many people, but you can never guarantee there's gonna be referrals coming your way.
Yeah. And how many leads, Luis, do you pack in your schedule on a weekly basis for what you're doing?
Oh, you don't want to know, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's actually not that many. It's probably, it really depends on, right? It's a contradicting, but most importantly, I have it on automatic. So no matter what, every Monday preset, I have an email that goes out to one of my vendors, so I can go ahead and get counts and go ahead and put an order in, just automatic. And I do that quarterly. So I have it preset for the whole second quarter already. And I'm already in a buy per lead program. Plus, I'll try out a couple of things here and there because you never know where you find the next great source, right? Most of the times you'll get burned. But if as an entrepreneur, if you don't try, you don't know. So now, to answer your question, on the mortgage protection space, I get anywhere between 100 to 150 leads a month. You
Nice.
break it down, 25 to 35 per week. The goal of that is to sit between 15 to 20 people. Out of sitting 15 to 20 people, I should close 10 to 15 files for the month and for the week, and that's how you develop that
So let
consistency.
me ask you this, because about leads, why do you think so many people in the beginning or in this journey struggle? Because I look at it as an investment, right? You have to change the mindset and the perspective. Some people say, well, I got to buy leads, but it's really an investment in your business if you're going to be an entrepreneur. Why do you think there's such a mental challenge there with buying leads?
Faith.
Gotcha.
People don't have faith in themselves sometimes. Maybe it's our neurological programming from the past, and we let the past come into our future and say, oh my God, like, what am I going to do putting this $700 this week into that? What if I don't make it back? Well, there's
Right.
this total doubt, there's all this fear, right? There's no faith in yourself. But if you plug to the system, call your mentors, do what
Yep.
you're supposed to do, it's going to be part of the business. Either you're going to jump on board and do it, and you're going to dive into the deep end of the pool and you're going to swim,
Yep.
or you're not.
And it's interesting you said that, because it's interesting how we'll believe in so many other people, but we struggle to really believe in ourselves. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to start this channel, is because I wanted to interview people like you, but also just give that motivational content to say, listen, you deserve to win. But you got to see it. You know what I mean? And I believe it this way: we were created on purpose for a purpose, right?
Yeah.
And so I think when we wake up with that type of energy and mentality, you just want to go conquer the world. And getting around people like you, man, just pumps me up.
I was just about to throw it right back at you, man, and say, like, people need to hear your message,
Yeah.
right? And they don't need to hear it once a month. They don't need to hear it like every
Right.
now and then.
Yeah.
People need to hit the subscribe button right now
Yeah.
and catch every single channel. And if you're not going live on YouTube or Facebook, just yourself every so often, you got to do that too, man, because you're powerful and you're going to help people dial in and stay plugged in, right? So, like, one of the most successful times that I had in my career is when I had that one coach, that one person, pushing me through. I'm switching up right now. I want to find the right platform for me to do that. But we all heard it, right? Jordan had a coach. Every single great has somebody that mentors them. So having that individual out there help you, great. My IMO does a great job at that. We do have mentoring phone calls on a weekly basis that help align me. But there's a couple of different things with it, right? There's spiritual, there's business, and there's
Sure.
personal. Because you have to have, again, maybe not so much balance, but stability all across them. Because if you don't have at least a little stability with them, that's where you really fall off, and they all really do affect each other.
Well, no, I appreciate that, man. I'll take that encouragement. And, and I always tell people, no matter how old you get, man, you got to stay humble, right? You got to be willing to learn and learn from others. And so why do you think, real quickly, and I know we'll get to number 3 here in just a second, you've given us about the discipline and the schedule. We've talked about leads, but why do you think so many people struggle? There was a guy in my church one time, he would say struggle, with a C, but how come so many people struggle to humble themselves to get a coach? Do you think it's pride? What do you, because for my life, coaches have helped me have a shortcut, if you will, to success. And not that I'm trying to shortcut success and that I don't want to go through the journey and the process, but if they've already been there and they're already where I want to go, why would you not humble yourself and find you a coach? Why do you think so many people struggle with that?
I think it goes back to trust. And really it depends on what platform the coach is and where they're coming from and the person in themselves, right? Like you're saying, they have to have that faith in themselves, that believe in themselves, that seeks them to want to pursue more and do more. Right. A lot of people are so cozy in their comfort zone, and stepping outside of that comfort zone really challenges you. So not only are you now a grown man or a woman out, and you're trying something else and you figure, what, I'm going to be able to get this myself. But now, like you're mentioning, you have to humble yourself enough to go and ask for help and listen to another grown man tell you what to do. Right. So now, how much do you believe, trust that person? How much can you validate the person? How much are you willing to invest in that person? Some people just have the fear of finance, if I put this in, am I guaranteed to get that? But there's never a guarantee. So I think it all comes down to the individual, right? And the way that you think. It's a tough question to answer, man.
Well, and what's interesting about that is, I always tell people this: you can't impart something to someone that you don't have yourself. Yeah. Right. And once again, going back to John Maxwell, because he's kind of like the godfather, if you will, in the life coach, a self-help motivational space. But, he talked about this morning that a lot of coaches and a lot of people like to tell, but they don't know how to show. And what I love about you is you show and tell. Like you talked about, I'm training agents. See, I've been poured into, but that pouring into and allowing people to pour into my life, now I'm able to go duplicate that and show other people, where a lot of these people, and there again, I don't believe in throwing shade and being negative, but there's a lot of people out there that are just telling, but they don't know how to show because they've never been there.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think the number one thing when it comes to showing is actually doing. Like, even if you're not an active producer by the time that you're coaching, as long as you can say, hey, man, I respect what you're telling me, but if you just look back to 2-3 years ago, those $500,000 of AP for the year that have my name on that plaque didn't come from me just showing up and coaching people. It came because I was out there doing the work just like you.
Yeah.
So you got to have a little validity in who you are and what you've done, and know that you at least know what you're speaking about.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
And I think that at this stage in my life, I'm only 2.5 years in. Like, I'm not ready to say, hey, look at everything that I've done, because I have so much left for me to do. Right. Like, I'm still hungry. I want more. I want to get out there and eat. And I love meeting with people. And so leading from the front is where I'm at right now. I want to get out there. I want to call my leads. I want to schedule my appointments. I want to go see people. And I want to find ways in there to be able to mentor and help others. So videos like this, man, I appreciate, because now we can reach an audience that I may have not had the opportunity to have an outlet to.
Sure. So that's a great attitude to have. So number one was consistency in our schedule. You're planning way ahead, and you're blocking things out. You're working for yourself, and you're blocking those time frames out. Number two, consistent. That pipeline needs to be consistently full with leads. So you got that thing on autopilot. Leads coming in, plenty of people to talk to.
You need it. It's a must.
Yep. Number three is what? What's number three?
Man, how do you get big? How do you get big? Like, how do you get like muscles and ripped?
Yeah.
You got to go to the gym, right?
Yeah.
You got to lift. It's not going to happen by lifting once or twice.
Sure.
You can go to the gym and get sore tomorrow, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be like the Hulk next week.
Right.
So, and this goes back to the consistency. Everything goes back in together, but literally, this is just like as straightforward as I can be and as blunt as I can be.
Sure.
It's cut the crap and go to work.
Right.
At the end of the day, feelings, emotions aside, and facts and grind in the present.
Dude,
The
that's so
facts
good.
are you buy leads, you call them, you go see them, you'll
Yeah.
have appointments, you'll make sales. I don't care how bad you are at first, but as long as you keep doing it, you're going to get better. I
Right.
know an agent that went 0 and 17 at first
Wow. Okay.
and then turned himself into a beast
Yeah.
because he just would not, he was resilient about it. Like he was bad, man. I'm telling you, he was bad. But now he's one of the top producers out there and he does a great job and now teaches others and passes the information along. And this guy just works harder than anybody else. And I think that's been the source to it. So just go to work, right? You can go ahead and feel this way about your upline. You can feel this way about your lead sources. You can feel, cry, bitch, complain, whatever it is. But the reality is that if you're not putting the activity in, your feelings are not going to help you get anywhere what you want to accomplish, right?
Yeah.
So put the feelings aside, put your head down and go to work.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I said this on this interview with Ryan when I interviewed him last week is I said, Brad Lee has dropping bombs. I think I may do spit and fire and just have like some pyrotechnics going. Dude, that is some fire because so many people allow their feelings to run their day instead of them run their feelings. Right?
Yeah, man.
And man, that is just gold right there. So real quickly, let's dive in that just a little bit deeper. How for you, what helped you begin to tell your feelings? Hey, for lack of a better word, shut your mouth, right? Know your role, get in your place because I got to go make this happen. Was it getting around mentors? Was it consuming content? Was it getting around like-minded people? Give us a little bit more into that if you don't mind.
Here's a great book, right? The Power of Now. I'm not the best reader, but I do have a lot of drive time. So
Sure.
even if it's just in the background or if I'm actively listening to it, I have a couple of books that I like to just plug in, and that's one of them. And the author, I don't want to mispronounce his name, but he's just got a boring tone to him. But I
Right.
still have it on the background just listening, right? And he tells you about how to live in the now, how to step outside of yourself and kind of like look at what's happening and say like, wow, so once you removed yourself from emotion, it's so easy to see what you should be doing. And so it's crazy to even think about it, right? Like whatever you're thinking about, just picture yourself coming out of your body and looking down at you and looking at how you're thinking of what the situation is and being like, oh, well, that's
Right.
an easy solution. Go to work. So that was one of the things that helped me kind of like see it and visualize it that way. But at the same time, I've heard it so many different times and through different trainings, and it goes back to that whole mentorship and plugging in and investing personal development. But feelings, and more likely than not, and it's probably such a big thing because I'm such an emotional guy. Like,
Sure.
dude, I
Me
am
too. I get
emotional. Or on my sleeve,
Yeah.
no doubt. And that for me was my own challenge that I had to overcome, right? I couldn't say, oh, this leads, oh, this, that. I just had to go to work. Because when I did, I saw a dip. And when I stopped, I saw stability. So now I don't care if it's up, I don't care if it's down, I'm even keel all throughout.
And it's interesting how activity, man, just cures a lot of things, right? Like a lot of people don't realize, like, is I noticed when before I came, here in the agency that I'm in, we get a lot of inbound calls. And of course, we make outbound calls, but we get Facebook, organic, brand leads, and we get leads galore. But it's interesting when I used to get in that car and I'm from a final expense background as well. I did final expense for a few years off and on. And it was interesting that as soon as I got in that car and just overcame those worries and that anxiety, if you will, those feelings that try to hold you back, I mean, I'd go out and have a good day and I'd feel 7 foot tall and bulletproof. You'd have those $1,000 days by lunch or something, and
Yeah.
So it's interesting how activity really is just a cure-all for a lot of things.
100%, right? I went out with an agent last week because I wanted to see how they approach their Medicare. And he's like, you know what? I didn't get any appointments set, so we're door knocking today. I was like, hey man, I'm riding along with you, so let's just go. We probably knocked in 12 houses. Out of the 12 houses, maybe we saw 7 people. Out of the 7 people, we sat with 4, we closed 3. This
Wow.
guy made over like $4,000 and just without having a single appointment in place.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he could have said, well, well, I don't have any leads or whatever, but the old saying, he made lemonade out of lemons, right? He made something happen. And that is true belief in yourself. Like, hey, I believe in myself. I deserve to win today.
Oof, and if you knew this guy, like he says it, I'm amazing at what I do. I'm damn good at what I do. It's just, it's not a cockiness to
No.
him. It's just a confidence factor that comes out, and his style is just completely different. Like maybe not many people can be like him, but
Sure.
he just gets out there and gets the results.
Yeah, and I tell people this from a faith side because I'm very passionate about my faith. I interweave that into everything I do. I tell people, when you learn to walk every day and know who you are and whose you are, right? That you were made on purpose for a purpose. It changes everything, man. Like when it changes your presentations. I'm here to help you, man. It changes, and it's not a cockiness. It's waking up going, man, I deserve to win today. I'm going to make sure I win today. That I get to wake up one more day and breathe and live on purpose and leave a legacy and make a difference. And it's not cockiness, but it's complete confidence in knowing who I am and whose I am. That's how I live my life. And I love being around people like you and others, man, that just seem to get it like that. So you're just dropping some fire today, man. I appreciate that.
So are you, bro. I was just inspired by your words right there. Knowing whose we are, haven't heard that in a long time.
Sure.
It gives you that service mindset too.
Right.
That it's such a benefit. It's so, when you get successful in this business is when you sit down with somebody and you truly don't care.
Right.
Not that you don't care about them. You
Right.
don't care about the outcome of the appointment, right? And you say, I'm here to help you. I can only help you if you let me help you. So either we're going to help you or we're not. What would you like?
Right.
Help me? Because I like to make sure that I break the walls down right from the get-go, right? Because a lot of houses you walk through and right off the bat, boom, give me 5 minutes. They're going to be like, oh, can I get you a drink? What's going on? Let me see the picture of your babies, whatever it is.
Right.
And that's how you get kind of past it. But if you don't do that early on, it's easy to have some of that objections come in.
Well, listen, got a few more things here. I always try to respect people's time. I know you got a busy day planned, but and let me ask you this: those three things that we talked about, just I only ask this because I want people to know that you're actually doing it. What would you say is an average in premium that you're writing every month? Because the way that I really found out about you on Facebook is somebody said something like, and there again, correct me if I'm wrong, but you did like 40 to 50,000 in premium in the month of January, something to that effect.
Yeah, it's a good month. I love January. I think it was 49,000. I don't know. It was like a couple $100 shy of 50.
And that's a result of these three nuggets that you shared with us today. I know there's way more you could share, but we're just consolidating it today.
100%. It's this business is such a blessing, and we truly have the opportunity of printing money if you want, right?
Wow.
And we're all human. Like I'm so open to putting my downfalls out there, right? I slipped up and I had such a great January, right? But I started working with a scheduler or an assistant, which I no longer do, right? And that it was going fine for a period of time, but when somebody gets into their comfort zones and there's changes that happen that can impact your business, then on top of that, because we're big in automation, right? And putting things into our CRM and working it out. So I switched vendors to another one that was supposed to be able to interact things into my CRM, but I was not getting the same results. So that really set me back in my lead flow. So now I cut that all out. I went back to my original lead sources. I cut out my assistant. I'm doing it all myself now. And I'm ready for now every single month moving forward to be closer to what January was, because I have, not that I want to have control and do it myself, but when it comes to me personally producing, I want to be able to have that control, right? So anyone watching, do not look into spending outside of what's making you successful within the first 2 years of you doing this. Don't worry about appointment setters. Get out there and grind and do it yourself. You need it so that you can teach everybody else to do it. That's
good. That's good stuff right there. So I'll wrap up with a couple of questions here. And I ask this to everybody that I interview, and listen, man, that's good stuff right there, right? I mean, everything you've been sharing with us in the last 30 minutes or so. So I asked this question: if there was one word that you would use to describe yourself, what would that one word be?
Energy.
Energy. Okay. So the
Yeah.
part B to that is, how has that one word contributed to you being successful today? How has energy helped you be successful today?
So energy is so broad, right? That is used in a couple of different ways. So what a good question. First of all, I never been asked anything like this, and it's really cool to think about it, right? But energy is contagious.
Yeah.
Literally, like, who are you around? Like, they're so often you just can't help to be like, man, I like being around this person, or
Yeah.
like this person kind of rubs off on me the right way.
Yeah.
Energy motivates you.
Mm,
Energy gets you out of bed. Energy gets you to your phones. Energy gets you to go ahead and drive and see more people, right? Energy keeps the lights on, keeps the
right.
brain sharp. Energy is just electrifying. So at the
Right.
end of the day, the more energy that I can give to everyone that I love and everyone that I want to be in surrounding with, or even if I don't even know you, I can still be that source of energy.
Yeah.
It's cool. This Rob, this is really random, but like there's been once or twice that people that I don't know, just by the way that I flow or interact, they're like, dude, like you're just like a what did this one person call me? They said you're a breath of fresh air. I was just
Yeah.
like, I don't know how to take that, but I'm gonna say thank you for that. Right. And then somebody else did it like a couple of weeks after, and I loved it. And I took it as a big compliment. But it's that energy you're putting out. And if you're putting out the right energy in any source, it's gonna come back. It's karma. What you put out comes back to you.
Well, no, I mean, that's one of the phrases that I use a lot in this channel, and a lot of just talks that I do is I call it putting fresh wind in your sails. You are like that fresh wind, your personality. I can see that energy translating here through Zoom. And so I love it. And I tell people this, you're infecting people with something, either positive energy or negative energy. Right. And so you're called to be an energy dealer, if you will, man. And I appreciate you, walking in that. But the reason I ask those kind of questions is because a lot of times we can narrow it down to something like, my word is passion. I'm a passionate guy. I love being passionate about stuff. And it's helped me be successful because when I tackle something, I tackle it with just utmost passion, man. And I will not do anything I'm not passionate about. I know you can relate to that.
For sure.
We've all had to do things that we're not passionate about, but as you mature and you grow, you learn to go, I want my passion, my purpose to align. I want to live on purpose, and I want to be passionate. I'm passionate about helping Medicare beneficiaries. I'm passionate about helping people with their healthcare needs. I'm passionate about doing this channel and interviewing people like you. And I love it because when I'm passionate, when I'm dealing that passion, you're dealing back that energy, man. And it's just a perfect formula to inspire people, is what I believe.
100%, man. You couldn't have said it better before, right? The more you give, the more it comes back to you too, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. And real quickly, as we kind of close shop today, has there been one person or one book or one mentor or one coach, whatever, has there been one person in your life, and you don't necessarily have to mention their name if you don't feel comfortable doing that, but has there been somebody that's just impacted your life, like a defining moment in your life? And if so, how did they do that?
The answer is yes, but I can't credit one person.
Okay.
I gotta give props to my wife because she's like literally my driving force. If I know that I'm making her happy, I want to do more of it. And so that's huge. Being able to clothe, shower my kids with like whatever they want, and not being that it's not the material things that matter, is just being able to and knowing where I came from and where I'm at and where I want to go. I'm not even close to where I want to go. But this is gonna sound really funny, right? Or maybe not so funny, haha, but like interesting that I'm thinking about this. Um, my childhood, I moved from Peru. I was born in Peru,
Okay.
moved over. I was like 9 years old, lived in Florida most of my life, since I was 10 or 11. And I remember in maybe my freshman year of high school, right? I was just going down the wrong path. Like I just didn't quite care too much. It wasn't like, I don't know, I wasn't too into it. I wasn't bringing that energy that I have, and sometimes I would. And I remember one of my first classes, I had this teacher, I think his name was Mr. Morris, and it was like a history class or whatever. And I remember taking a nap and just like falling asleep and not being present for his class. And him like getting so mad at me, right? To the point that he called me a buffoon in front of the whole class. And I was just like pissed, like,
Yeah.
what do you think you are to insult me? And then we like sat down and he pulled me aside. He goes, you have more potential than most of the kids in this classroom. You have energy, you're smart, you have like whatever it takes,
Right.
but you're choosing to come into the class and sleep and disrespect me and the classroom and everything else instead of turning it up. That was like a turning point for me, right? After I heard that and after I had that conversation and more after I realized it, I stopped being that kid. I started sitting in the front of the class, started doing good in school, getting more into the actual school and like different activities and clubs and all that. But thankfully, I was able to take the message as a ninth, maybe 10th grader or whatever I was, early on in high school, that I have all this potential. It's really just up to me to hone it. And I've been in the search of that for so many years. And I think I didn't see that properly as well as I see it now. But I can tell you 2 or 3 or 4 different times in my life where I've let my potential get away from me. And I vowed that this is it, man. It's not going to happen again. It's go all in or fail. And I'm just not failing ever again.
Well, as we finish up here, what is just some last pieces of advice, just real quickly, that you would give? And this channel not only tackles those that are in the Medicare or final expense or insurance industry as a whole, but I'm interviewing home-based business people, financial people, but just success principles, like just that we could use all across the board. What is some success principle advice or some advice that you would give to anyone who's wanting to take this entrepreneur journey, no matter what industry they're in? Is there just some last minute words and advice you want to give to some folks?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's another tough and broad question, right? Because there's so many different things that you want to focus on. But at the end of the day, inactivity kills, right? So whatever you're going to choose to do, get to it. Try to make it the smartest decision. Don't reinvent the wheel, but just be active, be present. Don't overthink. Just as we overthink, we lose momentum, right? And that momentum, when you have a fresh idea and you implement it, it's so valuable, right? You'll fail as you go and you'll reinvent and retouch and realign. But don't let you overthink. Don't let miniature things that don't matter get in the way of interrupting that thought and that energy. So
Right.
put that energy to play, man, and just go. Stop thinking, just go, 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 go. Shut
Right.
up, drive.
Yeah, once again, if I had that spit and fire button, man, I may need to find out how to get one of those. And man, you've been dropping it, spitting a lot of fire today, man. And I agree, man. We major in the minors too much. That's like a big thing for a lot of entrepreneurs.
Major on the minors. That's hilarious.
We major. I had a PhD in the minors, man, for years when I was younger, and I had to get around people to tell me, hey, stop doing that. You know what I mean? You get a PhD in activity. And that's the thing. Many of salespeople out there have an associate's degree in activity, but a PhD in majoring in the minors, right? And that needs to be reversed. We need a PhD in the activity, and we only need an associate degree there in the majoring in the minors part. So that's some good stuff, man. Well, Luis, thank you for being on the channel today, man. I'm so thankful and appreciative. You've been so gracious and generous with your time today. And listen, man, I just pray blessings over you and your family and your business. I know God's going to do big things in you and through you. I know you're going to help a lot of people. And I just believe it, man, because people like you just live on purpose, for a purpose. And I know that it's more than just about you. And I love being around people that are just not me-centered, but we-centered, others focused, that want to make a difference. And like you said, the money's great, right? And the material things are awesome to have, but there's got to be more than that. Right. And I love getting around leaders like yourself that believe in that. So I just want to remind all of you guys again today to make sure to hit the subscribe button, make sure to comment and like. I know, Luis, this will be dropping soon. And I know a lot of people are going to get a lot of value from it. And once again, just appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Brother, thank you so much. I'm going to open armly welcome those blessings and those prayers for myself, for my family, and for my business. And just thank you once again to all the subscribers, all the people watching. I appreciate you guys giving us your time. I hope that we were able to bring something to your life that you can go ahead and value and learn and grow from. I will put myself out there for anyone. I don't care who you are, what company you're with, or whatever it is. Go ahead and drop a comment below or reach out to me, and I'll be happy to get in contact with you or find a way to contact me. And I'll be happy to answer any questions or help anybody out.
Awesome. Well, friends, once again, listen, go and make it an awesome day, right? You deserve to win today. You need to believe that. I hope this puts fresh wind in your sails. Once again, subscribe, like, comment, and share. Have an awesome day.